Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. NHS and hospitals under pressure as the region prepares for what could be the coldest night for 4 years.
We're seeing probably double the number of fractures, certainly of hips, than we would routinely, and likewise we're seeing a sustained spike in the number of ankles and wrists, which is at least double our routine amount.
We'll look at how long this cold snap is due to last. Also tonight, as the freezing conditions continue, local authorities begin their cold weather support for the vulnerable and those sleeping rough. A charity in Sheffield says demand for support dogs to help children with autism is through the roof. And after 18 months, Bradford's National Science and Media Museum reopens following a £6 million refurbishment.
And it's going to be even colder over the next couple of nights. -11 is possible. That will make it the coldest spell for 4 years. I'll be back with a detailed forecast. Don't miss it.
Hello there, thanks for your company tonight. It's certainly freezing out there, isn't it? And temperatures are expected to drop even further tonight to -11 in some parts of our region, and they're forecast to stay well below zero until the weekend. -11 is the coldest temperature that we'll have seen in Yorkshire for 4 years, and it's meant roads and pavements continue to be treacherous in lots of areas. Over 200 schools remain fully or partially closed today in West Yorkshire, with 192 of those in Bradford alone. And as those prolonged freezing temperatures are putting extra pressure on our emergency services and the NHS, currently none of the hospitals in our region have declared a critical incident yet, but York and Scarborough NHS Trust are urging people who do need treatment to come unaccompanied to keep those numbers down. In Leeds, the LGI says it's seen double the number of patients with breaks and fractures than it would usually be expecting this time of year. Olivia Richwald reports.
Slips, trips, breaks, fractures and sprains. Snow and ice mean a busy time at the LGI Fracture Clinic.
We have people who are slipping over, falling, breaking their wrists, so we're seeing a proportion of younger patients. We also see a spike in people across the range who are tripping over on icy curbs, etc. But what we don't see a spike in initially is those older patients who are quite rightly cautious about their mobility and about falling over. By day 3, those people are running out of things and need to venture out. And so over the last 48 hours or so, we've seen what we often do, which is a spike in people going out, slipping over on ice and breaking their hips.
9 people have been admitted with hip fractures here in the last 24 hours. Usually they'd expect to have surgery within 36 hours.
They're seeing about double the number of patients with sprains, fractures and breaks here in Leeds, mostly due to falling in the snow and ice, and that means there are long waits. In the orthopaedic department, they've opened an extra operating theatre, but despite their best efforts, some of the patients with some of the worst fractures, hip fractures, are having to wait about an extra day for their surgery.
This recent x-ray is from a patient in their 90s with a broken hip. Recovery is likely to be slow and painful. A&E here in Leeds is also pretty busy, but coping. The hospital has opened an extra ward for additional admissions. The flu outbreak is also contributing to more patients and fewer staff. In York and Scarborough, those attending A&E are asked to come alone to try and free up space. Yvonne says she waited 13 hours in a wheelchair at A&E at a different Yorkshire hospital last week.
You could see that the staff were trying. There's absolutely no way you can say any of the staff were messing about. I got told while I was in the corridor that they had 4 auxiliary staff and 5 nursing staff vacancies on shift.
Patients across Yorkshire are being reminded they can phone 111 or visit their local pharmacy if their condition isn't life-threatening. But that too can be frustrating.
I phoned 111, gave them all my information. They said it would be a call within 6 hours, and I can't wait that time.
Were you in lots of pain?
Yeah, it's caused more pain from how I've been walking.
Unlike other places in England, no hospitals in our region have declared a critical incident, but many say they are under considerable winter pressure. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, Leeds.
It's certainly slippy out there, isn't it? Especially first thing in the morning. Paul is with us now. Paul, how cold is it likely to get?
That's a really good question. So my central forecast is for -11 tonight, quite widely across the Pennines. But I've just looked at the observations. We've already got -7 at Bainbridge in Wensleydale. That was at 6 o'clock, and we've got -6 at Pateley Bridge. So it may well be that one or two spots could be lower than -11. And it's not just a rural thing. Leeds and Sheffield, big urban areas, could be down to -9 tonight.
How long is it likely to last for? Just tonight?
No, it could be even lower Thursday night into Friday morning. It looks like we're going to keep these sub-zero temperatures right through the week and into the weekend. The milder air probably not coming in until next week. So we've got several more nights of very low temperatures.
Thank you, Paul. We'll see you at the end of the programme. Well, as Paul did mention there, the freezing temperatures are set to continue until at least the weekend. So it's meant that councils have begun their cold weather protocol for those who are sleeping rough. When temperatures drop to below zero overnight for a day or a couple of days, authorities work with charities, shelters, police and the NHS to make sure that extra beds are provided for those on the streets. Heidi Tomlinson reports.
Sleeping on the streets in the most extreme temperatures, Jayden woke up on Sunday morning submerged in snow.
I were sleeping here, duvet on, like usually I have it off my head, and Tesco staff have come in to start a shift on the morning, and they didn't think I was even there, and so I sort of fidgeted, and they've literally started to rush to get the snow off me.
Jayden became homeless 3 months ago after he couldn't work due to injuries sustained in a car accident. Winter nights outside are harsh and terrifying.
When you go to sleep in the night, you don't know if you're going to wake up in the morning with the cold weather.
Since Sunday, Jayden stayed in a hotel overnight and been given some warm clothes by members of the public.
With the cold weather now, it's absolutely freezing, so the more clothes we can give out, the better.
At the Homeless Street Angels new support centre in Leeds, they give out twice as many sleeping bags during a cold snap. The freezing conditions severely impact those without permanent accommodation.
The cold weather, you can just see it's beating them down, literally, and there's tension in the air. They're scared, they're frightened, they're not going to wake up on a morning.
Icy, compacted snow can be hazardous, as Norm Field found out this morning on his walk to meet friends at Gipton's old fire station's warm space. On the way in, he fell.
My left leg decided to go that way, and my body said, no, it's that way. And I just felt, I was okay, felt a bit stupid. No one there to help me or anything like that, and there never is.
Everybody in the country should be no more than 15 minutes away from a warm, welcoming space. They may not be open all the time, but there'll be somewhere that some people can go to get that warm welcome, to find a space to be, to keep warm. And places like us, we're open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday to Friday.
When the midday temperature is -1 and some pavements still really slippy with compacted snow, a communal warm space provides a reprieve for those feeling the cold. At the Reginald Community Hub in Chapeltown, these women meet weekly as part of a Black Health initiative, but some have been hibernating at home during the cold weather.
I haven't been out from since last week. I was to go to church on Sunday. When I wake up and I see all that whiteness outside, I went back in bed.
We were picked up, brought here, just dropped off, and will be picked up again to go home.
You wouldn't like to try walking on the pavement?
I don't think so, no. I've seen the pavement and it's not my friend.
For some, the pavement is home. Leeds City Council says it works hard to provide extra beds for vulnerable people during periods of cold weather, but Jayden doesn't know for certain where he's sleeping tonight, when the temperature in Leeds City Centre will be -7.
You're coming out and you don't know if you're going to get another placement, or you're going to be stuck out here again all night, and it's horrible. It's not a way that a human person should be living.
Certainly not, isn't it? It's certainly very tough for people out there on the streets at this time of year. And thank you to all of those who are supporting them tonight. Support has also been given to those struggling with energy costs. It's 3 years since we saw the first warm spaces being provided for communities in Yorkshire. Earlier I spoke to Marcus Hume from the social enterprise Places for People. They're helping to provide 4 warm spaces in Sheffield. I began by asking what advice he had for people who were struggling to keep warm.
The first thing I say is do make sure you use the heating to stay warm. A lot of people are concerned about the cost of fuel and the cost of heating your home. But the most important thing to do is to heat your home at least between 18 to 21 degrees, which is the recommended level from the World Health Organization. And some people choose to turn the heating off in some rooms to save money. Now, that can be done, but ideally heat the whole house to prevent issues such as damp and mould.
So for those who are really concerned about using their heating wisely, are there any other tactics that we can use to keep warm?
What we recommend is to turn that heating on and also wrap up in lots of layers and make sure you do practical things such as reduce drafts in your house if you can, and that could involve blocking things like chimneys, closing doors in between rooms, making sure that you've got space between your radiators and furniture, so leaving at least 6 inches between your radiator and your furniture so you can maximise the heat through your house.
That's some really good tips there. You're supporting 4 warm spaces in Sheffield, Marcus. What is your advice in these freezing temperatures? Should people be venturing out?
I think the first thing I'm saying is only go out if it's safe to do so. Warm spaces are a great place, though, for people to go if they're able to, because they can, one, help to reduce isolation, particularly for older people. You know, if you're isolated and alone at home, sometimes warm spaces are a great place for people to go because they provide an opportunity for social activities. There's often hot drinks available, different games and activities.
Marcus, many people are worried about their energy bills. Where can they go to work out what help is available for them?
The first place to start, Amy, would be to speak to your energy provider. So the regulator, Ofgem, require energy providers to offer payment plans for people who are struggling to pay their bills. Often energy providers can also write off a portion of debt. So it's worth speaking to them first. And then the second thing I'd say to do is check that you're claiming all the benefits you're entitled to claim, because a lot of benefits go unclaimed in the UK each year. And there's a really good platform, a free platform called Entitled to have a look at. And then finally, I would suggest speaking to a local council or housing provider to see what schemes and support they might have available. And that can include hardship funds, fuel vouchers, energy support. So definitely have a look at those 3 things.
Some sound advice there, Marcus. Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's move away from the weather now. You are watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. Why the North needs to use sport to help improve our lives, according to a group of the region's MPs. Fire crews are tackling a significant blaze in Bradford. 5 fire engines, police and ambulance services are at the scene at the junction of Alice and St Jude Street. Smoke can be seen in the area from what we understand to be a fire in an industrial building. The Prime Minister says the government will meet ex-miners to consider their proposals once new pension contributions have been agreed. Former mine workers in Yorkshire have been calling for their share of the pension scheme surplus, which would lead to extra payments for thousands of people. Responding to a question in the House of Commons today, Sir Keir Starmer was asked if he would meet with retired miners and trustees to discuss next steps.
I do understand the strong feeling on the British coal staff superannuation scheme, which is why the Minister for Industry met the trustees last year, and we will be working with the coal staff trustees to consider their proposals once the new mine workers pension scheme arrangements have been agreed.
Next tonight, a charity in Sheffield says demand for support dogs to help children with autism is through the roof. It takes about 2 years and tens of thousands of pounds to train each animal, but the difference it can make to families is really life-changing. Hayley Coyle has been to meet one family being helped by the Support Dogs charity.
Ready, go! Go on, go! Up, up. Yeah, well done, good boy.
At the training centre in Shire Green, these puppies are being taught how to support their future owners. Once fully trained, pups like these will soon be used to offer comfort and reassurance to children with complex needs such as autism.
Our dogs stop children from putting themselves in danger, so that could be running in front of traffic or running away. But really it's about getting children through various developmental stages, from when you find real changes in their speech, in their social confidence.
11-year-old Scarlett from Hackenthorpe has had her therapy dog Ivanhoe for 2 years now.
He's just amazing. He's an amazing dog. I don't know what I'd do without him.
Life before Ivanhoe was challenging for Scarlett and her family.
We didn't really go anywhere. We didn't really do anything. Scarlett found it quite tricky to access any sort of social communication.
When I was going to school, I was struggling to go in. But ever since I had Ivan, he's helped me to go in.
To be fair, he's like a co-parent, in all honesty. He's really supportive. He lets us know things that we're not aware of, Scarlett's not aware of. Like, say, if Scarlett's anxious or she's tired or she's struggling, he will always make sure that she's okay, and he'll curl into her legs, sort of thing.
Demand for support dogs like Ivanhoe is higher than ever in our region. It costs £27,000 to train dogs like Ivanhoe and can take up to 2 years.
There are a number of families in our region who are on the waiting list for a support dog.
We are so desperate for volunteers. I think a lot of the charities are in the same situation. We just cannot get puppies in until we have volunteers, and at the minute we are literally half capacity.
Support Dogs UK hope that with more fundraising and volunteering, they can match more families with life-changing dogs. And for Scarlett, as she approaches her teenage years, Ivanhoe will stay by her side. Hayley Coyle, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Oh, they're best friends, aren't they? How lovely. MPs say the North needs to use sport more to improve people's lives. The Northern Culture Group of MPs says funding for grassroots facilities and sporting events should be better linked to culture and the economy, saying that for every £1 invested, places make £4 back. Our political editor, James Vincent, can explain all.
When the diggers did their demolishing of the Don Valley Stadium a decade ago, people thought that this part of town was done with sport. In fact, the exact opposite happened, and a new report from MPs suggests this grouping of sports facilities is something the rest of the North should copy. It's been over 10 years since the Don Valley Stadium was demolished. Now we've got the Olympic Legacy Park in its place. Today there's a community arena for basketball, a school, a stadium for the Sheffield Eagles rugby league team, the Advanced Wellbeing Research Centre and a college. Just north of that is the English Institute of Sport and Sheffield. Then, across the Don Valley Bowl, is the Sheffield Arena. Now the Northern Culture Parliamentary Group says we should be better harnessing our sporting heritage. This report says that investment in sport should be more closely linked to arts, culture and industry, that mayors should be given more power to spend money on sport, and the effects of sport on the economy should be better understood. Healthy people might mean a healthier economy. They say they want to create a northern sporting powerhouse. A great place to come and do some sport.
It's a fabulous place to come and do some sport.
John Wilson wrote the report. There's an argument to say that this part of the world now is maybe serving the community better than the Don Valley did.
I think you're right. I think what we had with the Don Valley Stadium was a wonderful stadium, but it wasn't being used all the time. And of course we know Sheffield is one of the 20% most deprived cities in the country. So what sport can do is to bring more activity, to bring in more education, feed into culture.
We know that for every pound invested in sporting events, it returns £6 to the economy. And also just look at grassroots sporting activity. That generates £4 for every pound spent.
One of the other recommendations of the report is to prioritise funding to preserve infrastructure. Pretty ironic 10 years after this place was knocked down. James Vincent, BBC Look North.
Now, he's known for impersonating celebrities and politicians on Radio 4's Dead Ringers and The Impression Show. Now, Jon Culshaw is gearing up for a one-man tour across the UK with his new show, Imposter Syndrome. He'll be right here in our patch next month, the place where he first got his big break on radio. I caught up with him earlier.
I used to work in Bradford in what was then known as Pennine Radio when I was 20 in 1988. So I spent many years in West Yorkshire and in Sheffield. So yeah, wonderful memories.
Any impressions back then?
Let me see, who were the people at the time?
I think Christopher Livingston Eubank was making his way. Also, Frank Bruno, Golden Age for boxers, And
I would often talk about the difference between the Lancashire accent and the Yorkshire accent. Because Lancashire, it curls up like that. I'm from Ormskirk in Lancashire, it curls up. Whereas Yorkshire, especially Leeds, it goes down, it goes that way.
Yeah,
Lancashire's in a tizzy, Yorkshire's leaning on bar.
Definitely is lean on bar. It's actually a lean on water bottle at the minute. It's Baltic up here. Yes. How are you feeling about coming back up to Yorkshire, John?
It's always such a joy, and especially to play the City Varieties Theatre in Leeds. The feeling of just legendary show business heritage, just the atmosphere of the place. And I've always had a joyful time any time I've performed there, most recently playing Les Dawson in the one-man play that I did there.
And it was very marvellous because, of course, Les Dawson performed on that wonderful programme, The Good Old Days, at the City Varieties Theatre.
So yeah, you raise your game when you play the City Varieties Theatre. It's so inspiring. It just uplifts you.
You probably get different reactions from different audiences. What is it that gets the Yorkshire crowd going, John?
I think just the good, honest northern comedians. You always get a lovely response there. Also to the the football, the sports sketches. You get a very hearty, joyful response that reflects the warmth of the people of Yorkshire. You always get a lovely, hearty, immediate response, which is always joyful.
John, how are you feeling about living out of a bag for 2 months? It's quite a long time, isn't it?
Well, it's not too bad, really. It's a bit of an adventure, that part of the week when it goes on. We'll probably do about 3 shows per week. So I will have a chance to get back home and recoup and put some extra stuff in the bag before setting out again. It's all about the balance, you know.
Well, we are looking forward to giving you a warm welcome when you do come to this part of the world.
My great pleasure. Well, I can't wait to get there, and we'll see what's happening in the news at the time. We'll reflect the topicality, but the unpredictability is something to conjure with at the moment, isn't it?
Certainly is. John, thank you.
Thank you.
He's good, isn't he? And a little bird told me that he knows Phil Bodmer. They worked together back in the day, so there you have it. Now, there are just 2 days to go until Bradford 2025 City of Culture officially kicks off. Just in time for the launch of the National Science and Media Museum. It's reopened its doors after a massive refit. £6 million has been spent on it since 2023. It was meant to open last year, but there were delays. So ahead of the special celebration this Saturday, Cathy Minton has been for a sneak preview.
After 18 months of behind-the-scenes work, the National Science and Media Museum is red carpet ready once more. As well as the renovated entrance area with colours based on the test card, there's comfy seating and a souped-up shop, and visitors are now greeted by a stop-motion superstar. It's all in time for the launch of the Bradford City of Culture.
We're a cornerstone of the City of Culture programme. We've been working very closely with the team over there. We're really excited to be able to play a key part. We're a national museum right in the city centre, and we've got a very special programme coming up throughout the year to make sure that visitors just don't come once, but there's something for them to come back again and again and again.
The Kodak Gallery houses cameras from across the ages, and now some new additions.
There are cameras in this gallery that I remember using. I'm sure it wasn't that many years ago, but now that most modern of phenomenon, the selfie, is a museum piece with this new display.
Last year, the museum was stripped right back. £6 million of investment has taken place, and it's not all open yet. By the summer, there'll be a lot more, including 2 new galleries.
Well, while much in the museum is new, some old classics remain. They definitely couldn't have got rid of this hall of mirrors, could they? Now, how do I get out?
It's fantastic to have it open again. It's been missed. We used to love coming here with the kids, and it's been quite a long time since it's been open, so it's welcome back.
We came here many years ago. Our son's 42 and he was a young boy. And we now look forward to bringing our grandchildren who are aged 5 and 8.
What do you think of the Feathers McGraw and the wrong trousers on the way in?
I thought there was a really great view of, as you go up the stairs, you can see the Bradford City of Culture in the back in the city, and it looks like he's looking at it. It's quite cool.
As Bradford gears up for its year in the spotlight, this revamped museum is ready for its close-up. Cathy Minton, BBC Look North, Bradford.
Looks good, doesn't it? And we'll be live in Bradford on Friday night with a special programme to celebrate that city of culture. Is with us Snowfall Hudson, as he has become known. Paul, -11, you said.
Yeah.
When was the last time we had it that cold? Because I can't remember.
Well, interestingly, we had -9 in November.
No, we didn't.
We had -10 last January at Topcliffe. So we're looking at February 2021, we had -15 at Ravensworth. And before that, we had -17 in Malham and -19 in Topcliffe.
So it's not that unusual.
In 2010. Well, the longevity it's longer than February 2021, so it's quite notable. And I think I've got a sneaky feeling we might get lower than -11 tonight, but we'll see tomorrow, won't we? A couple of lovely pictures. I mean, that's it. Isn't that cute? That
gorgeous.
That's been sent in Craven. That's at the Skipton area. And this must be the most sculpted, smooth. I mean, how long have they taken doing that snowman? But that's a crack of that, isn't it? Thanks to Harriet in Home First. So if you've got any pictures you want to send to us, the usual script, the addresses are on your screen right now. So it's proper Baltic stuff out there tonight. We've got the widespread ice warning still in place. It's going to be with us for the next few days. As is always the case, the mild air tries to get in, but the cold air is pretty stubborn, and it's really going to be with us this week, the weekend, and it's not until next week before we see these yellow colours and double-figure temperatures, believe it or not, by Tuesday of next week. Now, the only notable weather is down south, where 1 centimetre of snow has brought the whole place to a standstill, as you might expect. But up north, it's clear, it's cold. We've already got -7 at Bainbridge in Wensleydale. And I think as this thin cloud inches away southwards, we're going to have a widespread severe frost. Estimates around about -11, focusing the Yorkshire Dales, West and South Yorkshire Pennines. But the way it's going at the moment, we might even get lower than that. And look at this, Leeds and Doncaster -6, York -8 tonight, so pretty widespread severe frost across the region. Scarborough 11:51 high water time, Bridlington at 12:20. So a very frosty, coldy start in the morning, but it's a bit like the Arctic tomorrow. Blue skies, sunshine all the way. If you're lucky enough to be off wrap up warm, enjoy it. But temperatures are really going to struggle. Just for an hour tomorrow afternoon, 2 in Leeds, not above -1 across the Yorkshire Dales. And then tomorrow night, there is a possibility of the odd -14, so it's pretty cold stuff. We stay in the Baltic into the weekend, a subtle improvement Sunday, but next week, 10 or 11 on Tuesday. That's the forecast.
My little boy Ren was still in his shorts this morning.
Unbelievable.
Might be a different story tomorrow, though, looking at that forecast. Thanks for your company tonight. Do wrap up warm. As Paul said, it's going to be really cold. I'll be here with you at 10:30 this evening with an update. Hope you can join me then. Bye-bye.